Mike Sprague had just come home from the hospital. For the third time he had seen his wife suffer the horrors of losing her baby at 24 weeks. He had such great hopes this time. Just another few days and the baby might have made it. He sat quietly in his chair and allowed the tears to follow. "Why, Dr. Sarah cried. Our little boy is so perfect." Sarah was warned that getting pregnant might end up the same way once again. But, she decided and made up her strong mind that she would try again. 6 months later she tried and once again Mike and her were expecting. From day one she kept her feet up, ate only the best fresh of food and lifted absolutely nothing. She made friends with her neighbor Donna, who was pregnant and due just 6 weeks before her. Donna and Jeff were so excited they were to have a little girl sometime in June. Everything was fine, and on the 8th of the month she found herself in labor. She had seen her friend Sarah, who had been on bed rest that morning. Sarah was so excited. This baby was now 35 weeks and the baby should now be okay. She was just waiting for the baby to grow. Mike had been busy getting the baby's room ready and was so excited. The doctor was very optimistic that their little girl was going to be healthy. He was nervous because for the first time in over a month he was going to be gone for 2 days. Sarah told Mike not to worry, she would be fine and would keep in touch with him. He would be the first to know if anything happened. That day Donna gave birth to her little girl, healthy and all of 7 pounds. Everything was ready at their house and Donna and her little girl would be able to go home the next morning. But, that afternoon Sarah went into labor. She was early, but to her and Mike's joy the baby seemed to be healthy and she too would be able to go home in a couple of days. Because of her prior problems the doctor wanted to run a few tests, but everything seemed to be fine. Donna and Sarah went home with their little girls. They would be like twins, both with long dark hair. They looked somewhat alike. Mike went to work the next day and brought lots of pictures to the people at work. Sarah was happy and put her little girl down in her bassinet. She was so perfect. A short time later Sarah went in to check the baby and found her not breathing. She grabbed her and tried to save her but could not. She was besides herself. "I need to make a plan. I have to have a baby," she cried to herself. Then the unthinkable. She just had to have Donna's baby. With the thoughts of a fox and the cruelty that only a human could have, she snuck over to Donna's house. She waited until she heard the soft sounds of Donna sleeping and snuck into her little girl's room and replaced her dead baby with Donna's baby. But, maybe they would be able to tell what to do. Donna had done something stupid. The baby's room was a little chilly and she had turned on a space heater. With the quickness of the fox and the cruelty of a human, Sarah dropped the blanket onto the heater. As she left the room the blanket was already smoldering. Sarah had not been in her home for more than 5 minutes when she heard the screams of Donna. Acting like the friend she was supposed to be, she ran over and comforted Donna. The fire crew came and found the charred remains of Sarah's baby. There was never any questions of what had happened that day and her baby was buried as Donna's. Now Sarah had a baby and thought that everything would be fine. She reasoned that Donna could have more babies and never said a word to Mike. No one knew that the little girl was not hers. They moved to another town and she lost contact with Donna. To go ahead some years, Lori, the little girl who had been kidnapped so long ago, was a grown woman. She was in college when she met the man that she was to marry. His name was Dan and just a year younger than her. Dan brought his girl to meet his parents. They were Donna and Jeff, her true parents. Lori had no idea of what had happened and Donna was excited to find out who Lori was. She remembered Lori as a little girl. They got along so well, but something about Lori worried Donna. She was the spitting image of her daughter Jen. Not only that, but she acted like her. Something was strange. When Lori brought Dan home to her parents, she was surprised by the cool treatment her mother gave him. Oh, Dad was wonderful and surprised to find out that he was the son of the couple that had lost their baby in that terrible fire so long ago. He too was puzzled by Sarah's reaction. "I am sorry, Lori, I really don't think that Dan is the kind of man that I would like you to marry. He just is not the type of man that would make a good father." Lori cried and tried to reason with her mother, but she would not budge. She loved Dan Dalton and she was torn at what to do. Donna listened to Dan and what he said about Lori's reaction. There was something different. Oh, her husband Jeff said it was nothing, that Sarah had always been very protective of Lori. But, there was something wrong. That day as Lori sat there eating dinner at the table, Donna carefully put her glass into a plastic bag. She was sure that this little girl was her little Annie. Could it be true? She had to know. As she sent off the glass for a DNA test, she waited. The DNA took weeks to come back, and Donna opened the package slowly. It was a match. Lori was her daughter. What to do now? She thought and thought about it, and then decided to call her husband. You could have knocked Jeff over with a feather. He too had noticed how much Lori looked like his daughter, but Dan had just told him the great news that he was going to be a grandfather. He hadn't told Donna yet. Now what to do? But this was his little girl Annie. Jeff and Donna went to the college and met with Lori and Dan. As the story unfolded, Lori cried. So she had never been the daughter that she had always thought she was. Her whole life was a lie. Oh, but now she was pregnant by her brother. She had to go and speak to her mother. That night Lori went to her home and confronted her parents. Mike had no idea what had happened so long ago, and Sarah just sat there saying nothing. She finally tried to explain how the other baby had died, but it was just fruitless. She had been a good mother to Lori, and Lori loved her. I don't know what Donna and Jeff are going to do about this. I will speak to them again. But, I need to know everything. That night Lori heard the entire story. Sarah told her everything, and for the first time since the fire she felt as though she had done something right. That night when all was quiet, Lori ended her life unable to face what had happened. Donna and Jeff knew that Mike was innocent and that their daughter was well cared for. With much dismay it was decided that this would become a dark family secret. 6 months later Lori gave birth to a healthy baby girl that they named Sarah after the woman that had raised Lori. And life went on.